everyone. Thank you for being here. Today we're going to talk about Your Greater is Coming by Joel Osteen. He is a preacher and has a lot of followers of his sermons. I don't really know anything else about him except for this book that I read. I got it at Barnes & Noble's a few years ago when it was 50% off for that big sale they had, and figured I would check it out. There's 3 lessons I want to talk about specifically that stood out to me that really embody this idea of slowing down, figuring out what you want, and actually enjoying the life that you create. Now, one of the first lessons he talks about and keeps bringing up is this idea of life is multiplied and not added. Now, this idea is very apparent to anybody who has ever had to learn something. As you start learning, whether it's a new math class or learning how to speak another language, there is a point where everything that you've learned so far suddenly puts everything into a new perspective and it gets so much easier. So all the effort that you put in at the beginning, slowly over time, begins to create a big return on investment, and that is true for any action that we do in our life. Whether it is getting up early, reading a book, going for a walk, accepting that the world is as it is and we can only do with it the things that we have control over, those are the things that will continue to be clear to you. So everything you do will be multiplied and not simply added on to the last. So eventually you will start to see a bigger ROI, a bigger interest rate coming back to you. But what interest are you getting back? It will explicitly depend on what it is that you're doing. If you're drinking more water and walking around more, you're going to see the effects on your body. Your body will be more flexible, you'll be more energized, you'll be more able to go for longer walks, you'll be able to have a higher level of endurance. But if you're constantly sitting on the couch, never exercising, always eating out, you're going to see those effects multiplied. You won't have a lot of energy, you'll be annoyed all the time, everything will make you mad, and you will feel unhealthy, you won't like how your clothes look, you'll be unwilling to go further in your career because you just don't have the energy, and one small decision suddenly rolls into your whole life. And that is quite literally the entire point of saying your life is not being added to, it is being multiplied by your actions. So what actions are you doing? And is there small shifts that you can make that will have this big compounding effect? And isn't it amazing that the idea of small little things, eating a salad a few times more a week, or going for a few more walks, or drinking a few more cups of water, could suddenly get you to a point where you're getting promotions and finding better friends? Everything that we do is connected, and how we do one thing is how we do everything. And therefore, that is why every action is multiplied across all these other areas, whether it is your financial, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual freedoms that you're pursuing. The way you do one thing is how you do everything, and it will affect all these other things. If you're focusing on being more positive and looking at the better way to approach problems, you'll start to do that in other categories. If you are kinder to other people, you will be more willing to be kind to yourself. So if you can look around you and realize, you know what, I just can't do this anymore, I have to take a step back and do things for me. And one of the ways I did that was I started drinking more water. I used to have this Nalgene bottle, and then I lost it at the airport. And I went back a few minutes after I left it somewhere, and it was gone. And instead of buying the new water bottle that was the same size, I got a much smaller one. And I would have to fill it up way more. I drank way less water because it was just annoying to go and do that all the time. And I could see myself being more annoyed all the time and not having enough willingness to just be able to record videos because you need to have enough water. So this small decision of not buying another water bottle started to affect me in a great deal of ways. I drank less water, so I ate more food, and therefore I started to feel my clothes get a little bit tighter. So this small decision of not buying another water bottle affected every aspect. I went out for less walks because I didn't have as much water and I didn't want to carry it and run out of water on the walk. So I just didn't go on as many. I have since bought the same water bottle that I used to have, and I fill it up less frequently. I drink a lot more water, and I go out into the world more. Now you might be thinking, really? A water bottle affected your life that much? Like, come on. Well, what are things that you're doing that are affecting your life that much? Are you always sitting after work and watching a Netflix show? Are you choosing not to read that book because you're too tired and you need to take a nap? What small decisions are creating these big changes in your life, and how are they being pervasively invasive on everything that you're doing? The best way to figure it out is to track the habits that you're doing. And the easiest way to do that is to literally just sit down for 10 minutes and write it out. What did I do today, and what can I choose to not do tomorrow? But you can do this for a few days and just write down what you did throughout that day. Were you on your phone more? Were you talking to people that annoyed you? Did you have to go and deal with bills? What are you doing, and how are you feeling because of it? And then once you have that list, go and create a list of the things that you enjoy doing. Going for walks, talking to your friends, trying new foods, and see if there's any overlap. Is there ways to import the fun list into the other habits that you're doing in a day? And if all the habits that you do in a day have no correlation to the things that make you happy, then it's very clear how all of the things that you're doing are multiplying into a life that annoys you all the time. And you only get one life, so why not enjoy it? Now, another big lesson that continued to come up was this idea of harvest and sowing seeds. Now, if you know about agriculture in any capacity, or if you have flowers or like to grow things, you know the idea that you have to plant a seed and then you can harvest it months down the road once it's been watered and nurtured and the fruit have finally grown. But you cannot do that on the same day. The day that you plant a seed is not the same day that you reap the harvest. Now, a lot of us are trying to do those things on the same day. We plant the seed of, I want to get more fit, I want to exercise more, I want to eat better, I want to have more fun and go on more vacations, I want to meet more people. And then we try to reap those results within a few days or a few weeks or even a few months. And the reality is that you can only reap a harvest once a year. So what if you pulled back your goals and tried to do them for an entire year? How much more planning could you do? How much more time could you save by not freaking out that, well, it's been 5 days and I still don't have 30 friends to go on this trip with me? How much easier would your life get if you used time and this idea that you plant the seeds today, but you have to water and nurture and provide enough sunlight and put them in a space where they're not going to be attacked by animals and be attacked by fierce winds. You have to actually put in the effort to protect this plant once it does start growing. Once you start creating the habits of going to the gym twice a week and eating a salad 3 more times a week, how are you continuing to nurture that to keep it from being attacked by people who just want to steal your time or your money, your energy? How are you protecting it? So if you could look at your goal as a year-long goal instead of, well, by 3 months from now, I better have lost 60 pounds and have a boyfriend. How can you expand that to a year-long goal? And if you do expand it to a year-long goal, you can actually plan out a little bit better, because what you're going to do on day 1 is going to be different than how you treat the plant on day 60. Maybe on day 1, you have to add more fertilizer and add other stuff to the plant. and water it. Maybe by day 60, you have to build a fence around it so that the foxes in your neighborhood don't come in and pull the roots out and eat your plants, and all the squirrels aren't, picking at the plant before it's ready. And then once the fruit does arrive and it is time to harvest, how are you doing that in a way that makes sure to respect the work that you've done? And it is a lot more nutritious for you. It's a lot better for you if you grow the strawberries or the apples that you're going to eat. But depending on what it is that you're trying to grow will depend on how much time it takes. If you buy a baby apple tree, it is not going to produce apples that first year. It might take a few. If you get an apple tree that is a little bit older, you're still going to have to wait for it to grow the fruit because it needs to get used to its environment and to recalibrate to the situation that's in. So if you are that apple tree that has been taken from one location and put into another, you have to give yourself time to adjust. You're figuring out where you're going to go get food, where you're going to enjoy your time. Where's the nearest movie theater? Where's the nearest park? Where's the nearest mall? You're figuring out all of these things, and you have to give yourself the time to do so. So you cannot reap the fruit of the tree the day that you plant it, and you have to adjust your actions as time progresses. As your goal continues on, how are you adjusting to ensure that that finish line is still there? And can you actually get to the end by adjusting as necessary and realizing where on the journey you are? And that's another big thing, is where on the journey are you for this goal? Maybe there's 10 different things that you're working towards. Where are you on any of these goals? And can you write it out and figure out what you're doing now and how you could get to the next place that you want to go? It's up to you to decide where you are and where you want to go. And that is really the idea of success. You have to define it for yourself. Your GPS will not take you anywhere unless you put a location in it. And that is the basis of this idea. You're planting the seeds, but what are you even trying to grow? If you want to grow peppers and you plant apple seeds, it's not going to create the things that you want. So are your actions even going to create the goals that you want? If they're not, you have to reevaluate, because the way you grow an apple tree is different than you grow a pepper plant. I don't know the details of how to grow any of these things, but the point is that it depends on what you want to grow. It will depend on what you're going to buy. Don't buy apple seeds or pepper seeds if you want to grow mushrooms. It's not going to work out. So if you want to have a fit body in time for your vacation in a few months, your actions need to align with that goal. So if you want to be more fit and be more athletic, your actions need to align with that. Are you joining a sport? Are you following videos on YouTube that show you how to move your body? Are you going out for walks? Are you eating healthier food? If you're not, then you're planting the pepper plant seeds trying to get an apple tree. It's never going to get you the results that you want. So what are you trying to grow? And how are you going to project and protect that plant as it's growing? How are you going to protect your goal of getting fit and being able to run a marathon? How are you going to do it? Are you going to let just anybody keep you from this goal? Are you going to exercise more, or are you going to drink all the time? What are you going to do that is an actual step forward towards this goal? And if you don't know how to use your time, somebody else will. They'll invite you to something. They'll use your money on this dinner. Your time will get used, and it should be used by you because you want your greater to be here and to show up, and it won't unless you put in the work. Now, the last thing that he really talks about, and is basically the basis of everything, is you have to start. You have to decide that you are going to move in a direction that is for you, that is productive for you, that is proactive for the life that you want. You have to decide when that is going to happen, but you have to do it by starting. You won't ever get any flowers if you don't plant the seed, if you don't start somewhere. But that somewhere needs to have intention behind it, and it needs to have the decisions associated with that thing that you want. So before you start buying seeds and plants, what is it that you want? Do you want children? Do you want a high-powered career? Do you want to develop a new course or a program or a book? What is it that you want? What is success to you? How are you defining it? And once you do define it, then your start is so much easier because now you have a plan. Anything that you have wanted to achieve is possible. Anything that you like about this person's life or that person's life is something that you can import into your own, and it will be your own because you have different experiences and ideas and perspectives that will help guide the thing that you want into a direction that will help you and those around you. But you have to decide, where are you going to start? What is it that you want? It's that scene from The Notebook where Rachel McAdams is just saying it's not that easy, and all Ryan Gosling is saying, what do you want? What do you want? It's not that simple. It is that simple. You get to decide. No one else is coming into your house and telling you what to do with your time. You are the one actually behind every decision that you're making. And that every other person that you are trying to offload this power to, even to God or the universe or the higher being at play, you are handing your power over to somebody that isn't going to be able to create the life for you that you want. And of course, a big part of religious text is hand it to God, give it to God, let God guide you. And there is a great peace with saying that. But God can't guide you if you don't know where you want to go, or if you aren't putting in the action to go there. God can protect you from a situation or a circumstance, but it has to be you that pivots and goes into a different direction. You are not given the things that you want. You're given the opportunity to get those things. And that is what the universe, the infinite intelligence, what God is doing for you. It's giving you the opportunity to create the life that you want. But you have to know where you want to go, or where you at least want to end up. So in order to start, you have to know where you want to go. And there's a reason why you're given the vision at the end and not the journey in the middle, because you have no idea what trials you're going to face and what you're going to have to overcome in order to get to that point. But another big idea is this idea of processing you. And that is a very big thing that both spiritual and religious texts constantly say, is you are being processed. You are being put through this journey so that you can get to that place that you want to be. You are being processed. And in order for you to be processed in the direction that you want to, you have to be making choices that align with the person that you want to be. So who is it that you're going to be? And are you making decisions to get there? But first of all, have you even decided where you want to go? God, the universe, infinite intelligence is going to bring you there, but you have to have an idea of where you want to go. The path will change and will shift, and you have to have the power and the determination, the discipline, the willingness to shift alongside with it. There is a great big world out there. Your greater can be on its way, but you have to put in the work. You have to decide what the goals are, where you're going, that everything around you is being multiplied, and that the truth is that you have to plant the right seeds if you want to reap the right harvest. It doesn't happen all at once. The day you plant the seed isn't the day it's going to come out of the ground. So what are you going to do in the meantime? One of the concepts he does talk about is this idea of the middle being the hardest part. And that is something that we all have to get through. The middle is difficult because the excitement of the goal is far off and the excitement of starting is in the past as well. So what are you doing right now to continue through it? And the way you think about it is that, hey, if I want to plant this seed and I will reap the harvest in a year, because whatever agriculture exists, we are only harvesting the fruit of that labor once a year. You only pick corn once a year. The rest of the year is spent growing it. How are you growing this goal? And how are you staying determined to get to that goal? What you want is possible. And it is possible with the steps that you take and the belief in yourself and the world around you and the intelligence that brought us to this point in time. It's possible, but you have to put in the work to get it. Whether you read this book or any of the other ones, the power is within you. There's a lot of little cute quotes that kind of succinct everything that he's talking about. So it's pretty good. If you want to read it from any perspective that you want to go into it, there's other books you can read. At the end of the day, you just got to start somewhere, and to keep going, it's up to you. I am excited to continue this journey with you. There's more videos to come, but if you want to learn some lessons from Feyre from A Court of Thorns and Roses, feel free to click here. But until then, I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.